Don't freak out. The horrors of war. Yes, friends, David was involved in so many wars, so many battles, so much bloodshed. Therefore, he needed, of course, protection. And that's what I want to speak about today. The symbol, the energy of what is being called the Star of David, which more accurate name for it will be David's shield, the shield of David. We're talking about protection shield. Everybody are familiar with this symbol, right? The Star of David. We saw it throughout history in different occasions. Let's be gentle about it. Usually people think about the Star of David as a Jewish symbol, but I guarantee it's much, much more than that. The energy of Star of David, David's shield, is actually completely universal. Before we continue, a friendly reminder, subscribe and hit the bell icon. Also, I love to get some comments, and I did see some people putting some comments there and some questions, and I really I would love to get more questions about what we studied together, and maybe you can tell me if you're interested in a certain subject concerning King David. Back to David's shield, the Star of David. Very famous symbol. So David needed this protection. Needless to say, we all need tremendous amount of protection in our lives. Either it's physical protection. After all, every day when you get on the highway and you're getting back in one piece, safe, back to your home, it's a miracle. For every little thing in our lives, we need protection. Physical protection, emotional, mental, for every aspect of our lives. So, David's shield has to do with this protective energy. The Star of David, David's shield. Before we'll continue with David's shield, and we mentioned that he was involved in so many battles, so many bloody situations, a lot of bloodshed. We already studied, we mentioned it, we didn't go too deep there, but the relationships with David, with his family, with his father, with his brothers, was completely messed up. Rumors were going about David since he was a child, a teenager, that he's actually a thief, that he's actually doing wrong by people. And in many Psalms, many episodes of Psalms, King David wrote about it. Anyway, he needed protection with his family. He needed protection later on with his battles. So let's go to the next episode, the historical biblical story with what's happening here with King David and Saul. That will be from Samuel A, chapter 18. After the battle with Goliath, David is being brought to Saul. Saul, of course, is very happy, the Israeli king, because they were able to defeat Goliath, right? So everybody are happy and celebrating. Saul makes a decision to keep David with him and basically make David one of the big generals of his army. He gave him, let's say, something in the 1,000 people underneath his command. So we're talking about kind of a battalion, right? King David, the people loved him, the soldiers loved him, his own soldiers, the people. And every time he will come back from a battle, the women will celebrate, will dance in the streets, singing, celebrating, and they will say, I love this verse in the Bible, I will read it in Hebrew and translate. ותעננה הנשים, that's verse 7 in Samuel 8, chapter 18. ותעננה הנשים המשחקות ותאמרנה. So the women, the ladies are משחקות, dancing, singing, and they are saying, היכה שאול באלפיו. Saul, the king, is victorious over thousands of people, but David is victorious over tens of thousands. היכה שאול באלפיו ודוד ברבבותיו. Saul is able to deal with thousands of opponent kind of soldiers, yes? But David is is above and beyond. He deals, he's able to defeat tens of thousands of people. Of course, Saul, the king, doesn't like this episode when women are glorifying and gives more respect to David. He becomes very, very jealous. And the next thing, Saul is saying, what's next? Not only that people love David more than me, ועוד לא אח המלוכה. The next thing, he will be the king instead of me. He develops this deep hatred towards David. It's actually love-hate relationships. One of the days, as David is in the king's palace together with Saul, place for him, it says that Saul got this evil spirit, negative energy, maybe a negative angel, penetrating his soul, is prophesying in his palace. David מנגן בידו, David is playing the violin, the harp, next, and Saul already made a decision, I want to kill him. I want to kill David. He takes the spear and twice he throws the spear at King David, and not simply that he misses the target, that will be David, of course, but David, maybe he took some boxing classes or who knows what from Mike Tyson, he was able to duck under. He was able to avoid the spear. The spear just go by him, hit the door, get stuck in the door 2 times. So already we see how much David was protected. An interesting thing will be that all along, with the messed up relationships that Saul had with David, David with Saul, and we're going to learn about it as we're going to get deeper into the stories of King David. Even just the simple biblical stories is going to be more dramatic. Okay? So protection was there for King David. Saul hit with the spear twice, and David is able to duck under to avoid the spear. Let's continue. He already made a decision, Saul, to finish King David, and at the same time, he keeps King David as a big general. Again, underneath his command, he has 1,000 people. ויהי דוד לכל דרכיו משכיל והשם עמו. The light force of the Creator always protecting David, and he's always doing the right thing. So Saul now thinks, how am I going to get rid of this guy? And Saul is a great warrior. He's a big man as well. He was from the tribe of Benjamin, and Benjamin people, that tribe, were like huge people, very big people. And Saul, whatever he does, as I mentioned, the Bible is saying so, twice with a spear, and he can't get David. David has this unbelievable protection. So Saul figured out how I'm going to finish him. Apparently, I cannot do it by myself. He turns to David and he says, I want to give you Merav, my oldest daughter. I want you to marry my daughter, Merav. And she will be your wife, and you will be the general, the 5-star general that leads my army to any kind of war, any conflict with other nations that we have. You will lead the army. So Saul is saying to himself, I cannot finish him, but I have many conflicts, many battles with the Philistines. I'll send him as the head of the military, or at least one of the big generals. I cannot finish him, but the Philistines will kill him eventually, will finish him. David says, who am I at all to begin with to marry your daughter? I'm nobody from Bethlehem, from the family of Jesse, and no simple people. I cannot be your son-in-law, Mr. King, marry your old daughter. At the same time, by the way, same time, Merav, Saul's daughter, that he wants her to marry David, but she was giving to another guy. It's like a big drama here. She was giving to a guy named Adriel, also a big chief officer in Saul's army. But then Saul regrets and he says, Adriel, you're not going to marry my daughter. I'm going to give her to David. And then Saul, a rumor come to his ear, and his servants are telling him, well, you know that also your second daughter, Michal, she loves David dearly. So Saul says, even better. It's a double whammy. Says to David, I want you to marry not only Merav, my older daughter, I want you to marry my two daughters, Merav and Michal. I'll give you my two daughters, but you leading the army into the different battles with the Philistines. And again, what Saul has in his mind that David eventually will be finished. Saul's servants, they're coming to King David and they're saying, the King Saul, he doesn't want any dowry from you. Dowry, I hope I'm saying it right. Doesn't want any money from you, from your family, no dowry. And listen now, what Saul wants from David? He says, listen, I want you to go. I want you to defeat the Philistines, but I want you, the dowry will be 100 foreskins. What a crazy idea. Saul says to David, King Saul says to David, go fight the Philistines, kill them, as many as you can, and bring back, and that's your dowry, bring back at least 100 foreskins. Interesting. I mean, you read different stories about what happened here, you know, Native Americans, no, I don't mean to hurt anybody, but the lekarkef, I'm not sure how to say it in English, but you know, when you cut the top of the skin from the head, right? He wants 100 foreskins. 100 foreskins. And guess what? David is saying, it's a deal. I will go out, fight the Philistines, and brought at least 100 foreskins. So David is going with his people, leading his people to the battle. Vayach b'plishtim. Again, he's smiting the Philistines, and he brings back some extra foreskins. He brings back 200 foreskins. And Saul, King Saul, is devastated because he was sure that David will die in the battlefield. And great for me, says Saul, I can get rid of him, right? But that's not what happened. Again, David comes victorious with the 200 foreskins. Saul doesn't know what to do, and of course, he has to give his daughters to David, and he's very much not happy with it. So that was chapter 18, Samuel 8, chapter 18. We see that some family drama is starting there, and believe me, that's only the beginning. The drama is getting bigger and bigger as we get deeper into the stories. So what's up with this David shield? David star, David shield, protective shield. The two triangles, we all know, the upper triangle standing up straight, the upside down triangle representing the energy of the spiritual realm, what we call the tree of life reality, and that be by the Sephirot, those spiritual energies being called Chesed, Gvura, and Tiferet. Chesed, Gvura, and Tiferet. That will be more like the potential energy, the upper standing upright triangle, and the upside down triangle will be the emanations, the Sephirot of Netzach, Hod, and Yesod that are more manifesting the energy. What I would like to focus on now, because there are few explanations about Star of David, David Shield, but there is a certain aspect of it that I want to focus on more. And it has to do with the story of Abraham and Sarah. Abraham and Sarah. Abraham and Sarah, the biblical Abraham and Sarah, spending some time in Israel. Then at a certain point in time, they had to go back, they had to go down to Egypt. It was a famine, hunger. There is always some hunger and famine in Israel in the biblical stories. And they figure out we'll go to Egypt. There is plenty of food there. Talking about who? Abraham and Sarah. So they're going to Egypt, and then another scary kind of drama is happening. Sarah is a beautiful woman. Sarah is a beautiful woman, and when they cross the border, servants of Pharaoh, they see her and they're astonished. You know, wow, such a beautiful woman. They take her immediately to Pharaoh. Abraham at that point, that's the story, he freaks out. And he says to Sarah, please don't tell them that you are my wife, because they will kill me. Say that I'm your brother. Such a loving husband, right? Well, there is a code there as well. It's not simply the way we understand it from a superficial level reading of the Bible. But anyway, Sarah is being taken to Pharaoh, and he tried to make a move on her, right? Beautiful, very attractive woman. Every time when Pharaoh tries to touch Sarah, it says in the Zohar, in the holy book of the Zohar, it says in the Zohar that there is an angel that hits him, you know, takes a physical object from the room, you know, the candle behind me maybe, which is not that painful, I guess. Okay, but the angel is taking a physical object and he hits Pharaoh. And, you know, 2-3 times Pharaoh saying, what's happening here? It's like spooky. Every time I'm making a move on Sarah, I'm getting hit by something. This weird angel or something. Something is happening here. And Pharaoh is smart enough to get the message. At that time, what's happening with Sarah? She also enjoying this protective shield of the angel. Actually, we're talking about 3 angels. Okay? Every time Pharaoh tries to do something, Pharaoh is getting hit. Sarah is completely protected, while Abraham is outside of the palace, who knows where, and is freaking out. Abraham is freaking out. God knows what Sarah is doing with, what Pharaoh is doing with Sarah, right? Completely freaking out. And the Zohar is revealing here a secret. Both Abraham and Sarah knew that she was completely protected by the Star of David, by David's shield. This is hundreds of years before David existed physically on this planet. The energy was already there. Because David is a unique soul. Again, we'll have probably like 100 sessions. There are so many secrets about the soul, and to be continued about that specific aspect, yes? But the energy of David was already there. In that episode of Abraham, Sarah, and Pharaoh. And Sarah in Pharaoh's room, in his palace in Egypt. This energy of protection is being called Mochin de-Hagana. Mochin de-Hagana, the protective shield, David's shield. And there is a discussion in the Zohar. There are 2 terms, spiritual terms. One of them is being called Magen Avraham, Abraham shield, or Abraham protector. And David is saying, he turns to the Creator, and David is saying, why do we have only Abraham shield, Abraham protector? I want to have something similar being called after me. David shield, David protector, David's star. And the Creator is telling David, listen, Abraham had to go through tremendous challenges tremendous challenges to gain this protective shield, as he was always injecting the certainty that my light, the light force of God, of the Creator, is there with him. And if you want to have the same thing, you need to go through challenges. And David is saying, sure, challenge me. God, please challenge me. I want the most extreme challenge that you can give to a human being. Give it to me. And God gives David the challenges. We'll speak about it. I said it already 1,000 times, but there are so many stories. David sometimes failed the challenges, sometimes, he's okay with it. But anyway, the Zohar is saying that we have these two terms, Magen Avraham and Magen David. Abraham's shield, David's shield, Star of David. And I would like to read directly from the great Kabbalist Rav Ashlag. This paragraph is always inspiring. And there is a quotation actually from Psalms chapter 3, that King David is saying it, and it's a beautiful meditation as well that all of us can use. ואתה השם מגן בעדי כבודי ומרים ראשי. David is saying, God, Creator, you are my protector, you are my magen, you are my shield, you are my Star of David, you are my David's shield. ואתה השם מגן בעדי, כבודי, you are my glory, ומרים ראשי, and the lifter of my head. And then the Zohar is saying, אמר דוד, אף על גב דכל בני עלמא, even the entire population of this planet Earth that will be, יתון להגחה בי קרבה. Even if everybody are against me, physically, billions of people ganging on me, okay, thinking negative things about me, judging me, criticizing me, having bad emotions and feelings, but here he talks about physically, להגחה בי קרבה, to battle me physically. ואתה השם מגן בעדי. You are God, my shield, you are my protector. David's shield, that has to do with emanations, and I'm sure that we'll have another episode about it, but David's shield represents the absolute certainty. Very powerful. And then Rav Ashlag, that was, I'm sorry, from Palms, and now we'll get to Rav Ashlag. And Rav Ashlag is saying, Biur HaDvarim, the deep understanding, the consciousness that we have here, says there are two. אין מי שישיגם אלא בדרך מגן והצלה. It's the first thing for us to learn. Every time you go through a challenge and you overpower and you feel that you're being saved from something, you should meditate to take this protective energy and to add it to your personal David shield, building this energy, of protection. And the second thing that Rav Ashlag is saying, and we'll stop with that, the second thing that Rav Ashlag is saying, משום שהזוכה בהם אין לו עוד פחד משום דבר. A real connection to David's shield, to this force of protection, makes the individual fearless. All fears, all phobia, anything that we have deep concern, simply fear. Fear disappears. So David's shield is also a very powerful tool. The symbol itself, the paragraph that I will read again, is a very powerful tool to make us, well, I don't think it will be, overnight. It's a process. King David and Abraham go to this place, and it says here, אין לו פחד משום דבר. The individual, and that's the force of King David, that Abraham had as well, they were completely fearless. They were completely fearless. Okay, guys, I don't want to make the video too long. To be continued. Please, questions if you have. 1 minute more. The three angels that we have in the word shield as in David Shield. Magen are the angels, maybe I mentioned it, but I will mention it again, are the angels Michael, Gabriel, Gabriel, and Nuriel. You will see it on the video there. And that's it. Questions and comments, and like too, so YouTube send it to more people. All the best, fans. Thank you very much. See you soon. Bye bye.